So what are the two most common wrong frames that salespeople get into? And then that will help you understand the rule. The wrong frame is they're too dictator, and they just try and bash the prospect over the head to make a decision. You're a loser if you don't do this. You're weak. You're a bad person. You're letting your children down, blah, 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 blah. And they're just trying to attack the prospect to make a decision. But on the other side, I have seen more salespeople lose deals because they're too soft. The prospect is scared or worried about things, and they're stuck in their own head, overthinking, and they end up being indecisive. And most salespeople, they actually lose deals because they're too soft. And so how do you take both of these extremes and not have a frame that's too extreme in either direction, but one that can swing to both ends of the spectrum as and when needed? How you do that is you create a frame by using a rule that is attached to the right thing, not the wrong thing. So the wrong thing is being attached to your ego. I want to beat the salesperson so that I feel good that I won the sale. Or attached to the sale, attached to the money, attached to getting the deal. If you're attached to any of that, even if you are being too soft, or even if you are being too harsh, even if you're being too soft, or even if you're being too direct, your frame is going to make everything feel with an icky taste in the prospect's mouth. What you need to do is have this frame. Be very attached to what is right, but be very unattached to what happens. I'll say it again. Be very attached to what is right, but be very unattached to what happens. And so what that means is if I'm on a sales call and I know the right thing for this person to do is to take action, because if not, the lack of leads in their business, which is causing them to be in a financial tough spot, is causing their children to be potentially taken out of private school and put into public school, which is going to give them a worse education, as an example. If I'm very attached to what's right, I'm going to push hard on the prospect. But because my frame is like the doctor, I'm doing this because it's what's right. Not because I need the sale, or I want the sale, or I want to beat you, Mr. Prospect, but just because it's what's right. I'm going to have the grit and the drive and the determination and the commitment and the certainty and the conviction to push at the prospect. This is what you need to do. If you want to help your children, this is what you have to do. And you're going to push and push and push, but the feeling to the prospect is not going to be negative or salesy or icky or make them feel like you just want something from them. It actually is going to feel to the prospect that you want to give something to them. You want them to borrow your conviction. You want them to borrow your certainty. And so how you do that is you must have a rule for your frame. I could have just said, don't be attached to the outcome. Don't be attached to the sale. Well, that is true, but then what are you attached to? You have to be attached to what's right, because remember, most salespeople lose the sale in regards to their frame because they're too soft. They're not attached to anything. They've heard the old phrase of be detached, be unattached to the sale or to the close or to your commission. Don't have commission breath. That's very true, but if you're not attached to anything, when the going gets tough and there's a bit of friction and the prospect's struggling to make the right decision, you don't have any strength behind you. It's just like, and you as the salesperson just fall down. There's a moment of resistance from the prospect, and you don't have any fuel inside of you to push back. But that fuel has to be healthy fuel, not bad fuel. It's like eating. You can get your fuel from sugar, unhealthy sugar, unnatural sugar, refined sugars, or you can get your fuel from healthy food. It's fuel either way, but it's going to make things feel very different in how your body works or how the sales call is working as far as what type of fuel it's running on. The conversation is running on the fuel of the frame. So the frame to have is to be very attached to what's right so that you can push, but be very unattached to what happens.